Decimal facts, the basics. What are they? Numbers that have a decimal point followed by digits. Why? Helpful to understand the number line, percentages, fractions. Helpful to understand how much change you get back after buying something. Interesting fact, by 1500 decimals were accepted by almost all professional mathematicians. Vocabulary. Place value, the value of each digit in a number. Decimal point is the dot. Now let's take a look at example 34 and 12 hundredths. As you can see on your screen now, the 3 represents the tens, the 4 the units, the 1 the tenths, and the 2 the hundredths. So if we take a look at this example on the chart, and the black line is in the middle between units and decimal point. So if you fold the chart in half, it will be a mirror image of each other. For tens, it will be a mirror image of tenths. Hundredths will be a mirror image of hundreds. And if you go one left and go one right, it will be a mirror image of thousands. Except the only difference is the letter th on the decimal side. Let's take a look at this counting number. You have counting starting from 0 to 10 by ones. So let's take a magnifying glass and just look at the first section. So if we zoom in, you will see that it is very similar to the one on top. Now let's take a look at the similarities. Same number of sections. There are 10 sections in each one. There are 10 numbers other than the 0. And then take a look at the differences. One of the bottom one has decimals. Okay. So let's go with the tenths number line and also the 1 number line. So if we go ahead and move one section, as you look, we're still counting by 1, except the fact that one on top is counting by 0.1. So the only difference is that you're adding 1, but the place value, you're adding it to a different place value. So that is why the one on top is adding 0.1, and so the numbers look like they're going up by 1, and the one on the bottom you already know how to do. Now let's take a look at the counting number line again, and if we take a look at the second section, you already have the number line zoomed in on the bottom, and it looks like similar to the one on top, except that it's still going by ones, but it's going by ones in a different place value. And this one, in this case, it's going by the tenths. And if you keep doing it, you're going to keep going and going. And it's going to keep working in the same way. So let's take a look at this figure. Remember, there's 10 sections in the number line. We have 2 highlighted. If you're not sure, let's go ahead and add the tenth number line and see how many tenths this represents. And so let's go ahead and count. So you can put your number at 0.0 and move it 1. And if you do that, you get 0.1. You move it again, and you get 0.2. Since nothing else is highlighted, that's your answer. Your answer is 0.2. Now let's take a look at one more example. So you have this rectangle. You have 6 sections highlighted. What do you think the answer is going to be? If you're not sure, draw your number line. Okay, this time we already have it with the tenth number line. Go ahead and put your finger on 0.0 and move it over 1 again, and then the third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, and then finally you get 0.6. So let's go ahead and talk about, and obviously 0.6 is your answer. Let's go ahead and talk about what do we know so far. We know that 10 tenths is equal to 1.0. So now what happens if we take the 10th number line and we zoom in to the first section? You get, once again, we're still counting by 1, but in this case it's a different place value. So you're adding it into the hundredths. So, and then we zoom in again and again. And as you can see, each time you're going up by 1, but we're changing the hundredths place value, the second digit after the decimal. And if we do that 10 times, we're going to have 100 rectangles or 100 sections. And instead of making it easier to count, you can see the factor is 100 of them. Now, and then if you do that 100 times, you will get 1.00. And then let's do an example of that. So we have 12 sections of the 100 highlighted. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to, and you can see we're on the bottom of the screen, we start at 1, and there's one tick mark on the top. We go again, there's 2, there's 3. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, it is moving, and you're counting by 1, but you're doing it in the hundreds place value. And then this is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, so we add 1, and we get 10. Ooh, look, my number line on the top of the screen has changed. So once you get to the multiple of 10, it's basically the same thing as a tenth. So right now we're at 1/10 or 10 hundredths. And we go again for another one. And we go back to the 100 place value for the n number line. And now we move on to the next one. And there's nothing else highlighted. So my answer is 12 hundredths. And now we're going to do one more example. We have these 24 sections highlighted of the 100. So what do you think the answer is going to be? If you're not sure, count with me. So we have the first one highlighted, and now we continue counting by 1. But remember, we're counting by 1 in the hundreds place value. So when we get to the 9, we get a little. Remember, we go back to the tenths number line, and then when we go back to the next one, we're counting by 100. So we have 11 hundredths, 12, 13. 14, 15, and so forth and so on until we reach 20 hundredths, which is the same thing as 2 tenths. Okay? So then we get to the 21, we add another 1 to the hundredths, and then we keep going. We have 2 tally marks, we have 3, and finally, my final answer is 24 hundredths. So now it is your turn. So write down your answers. Go ahead and pause the video. This is part 1. And then you can pause the video so then you can take your own time to answer these questions. So I will show the answers in 3, 2, and 1. Here are the answers. Okay, now let's go. If you got them correct, well done. And then let's talk, if you didn't, there's always tomorrow. And let's talk about this part 2. Here you have it. Go ahead and pause the video so that you can take your time to answer this question. So, and I will show you the answers in 3, 2, and 1. Here are the answers, or the answer rather. And if you got it correct, well done. If you didn't, there's always tomorrow.